Snake Wood Nip Hustle. Big shout out to my nigga SPI, Spotter Low. You know I'm in the black box, had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned.
Box Production.
Take that back to your mama house. Shut your mouth, that's just what I'm talking about. Shut your mouth, that's just what I'm talking about. That ain't cute. Always trying to hit every blunt. Barely wanna get your nails done every month. Look how insubordinate, ignorant, and hard you in. Was you venting or trying to kill me in the argument? Go on, snap the screenshots. Who you gon' show though? Me and your folk don't even talk no more. You the type to convince me I'm literally the best you ever had, and turn around and try to belittle me with that same old sarcastic smart opinion when I'm speaking from the heart like you hard of hearing. Swatch nothing to chunk up produce to you and get back to bust the bitches like I used to do. So just go on, cut all that drama out. Take that back to your mama house. Shut your mouth, that's just what I'm talking about. Shut your mouth, that's just what I'm talking about. Go on, cut all that drama out. Take that back to your mama house. Shut your mouth, that's just what I'm talking about. Shut your mouth, that's just what I'm talking about. Somebody say, can you do the Lost Tapes 2? Lost Tapes 2, You Ain't Heard Volume 2, something of that nature is coming soon. It's heavy on my mind. Before we get to the phone line, we got a couple of callers in the queue. However, y'all hit me with the story over and over again, which didn't really catch my interest much until I realized it took place in Woodland Hills, which is a suburb adjacent to Los Angeles, California. But Chief Keef has an artist named BossMoo, I believe is how you pronounce it, BossMoo, who has reportedly lost his life, bless cuz, rest his soul, and in an incident that is being described as a murder-suicide that took place out here. And the murder-suicide involved himself, his girl. He is reportedly the trigger man in the incident. I actually, like I say, sometimes I read, sometimes I don't. I actually read an article on this story, and I just wanted to get some real insight into what actually took place before I spoke on it, just based on the sensitivity of the incident and the nature of the events. And while reading the story, they included comments from his fans who were saying that he had been recently struggling with mental health. And they had photos of him and Chief Keef, photos of him on there flashing burners. They mentioned how many followers he had on Instagram to give an idea of his popularity. He had 28,000 followers according to the report. But once again, similar to the other young artists, a female, and his relationship with a female is seemingly attached to his decision to take his life. This time, not just his life, but the life of the female that his affections were the subject of. And, you know, I am one to be able to relate to the fact that when it comes to being in love and breaking up and heartbreak hurts, it's some of the most intangible feelings of pain that compares to actual tangible pain that you can imagine. It's like hard to explain to anyone who hasn't gone through it. It's just as hard, if not harder, to watch a child go through it. Once you've been through it and you know the actual ache that your soul can experience, and then you watch your child go through it, you have no idea the trauma that you then internalize or eternally experience. But never worth, for one, taking someone else's life. I couldn't imagine, there wasn't much detail provided as to what the exact motive or inspiration of his anger or displeasure was.
They didn't say she cheated on him or she broke up with him, but for some, they said they were experiencing trouble in their relationship, and as a result of that, this is the conclusion that he arrived at. So I just want to say rest in peace to her. Definitely. Send my condolences to her family, her parents, if she had any of her children, but her parents. He was 32 years old. I'm not sure her age. But to her parents, indeed, I could not imagine. Like, I have children who are old enough to, female children who are old enough to date, produce children, and to some extent, you're at the mercy of whatever individuals they choose to allow in their lives, apart from being up under you, and to romantically be involved with and have relations with. You're at the mercy of hoping, wishing, praying that they're far more on the side of regular than what we see here. I have a son-in-law. I use that term for lack of a better word, my granddaughter's father. And I'm probably the first father figure he's actually had in his life. And since he and my daughter have blessed me with a grandchild, he's found himself in some legal troubles. And they're quite similar to a lot of the legal troubles that I found myself in at his age. And prior to him being aware that I even knew that he was experiencing certain troubles, I had the opportunity to think about how I was going to react, respond when my daughter is the one calling bail's bondsman and going down to the county jail for the visits, similar to how some of my other children's mother have done for me. And I had a real opportunity to look within and be real honest with life before I ever spoke to him, her, or ever gave any type of reaction to the developments. And he was finding himself in quite a bit of trouble, repetitive trouble. But what I did allow myself to do, and I'm very grateful that I was able to reach this position. To this day, I've passed no judgment. I realize that is one of the most least effective elements that can be added to the situation. Like I say, from experience, similar age, I made a lot of the same foolish decisions, found myself in very big trouble. And the support that I received from my parental figures was lack of judgment. And I was better raised, if you just look at the typical structure and effort of my parents, to ensure that I never went down certain paths. So although it's not my birth son, I just found myself being supportive. You know what I'm saying? We need to holler at a lawyer. You want me at court, I'm there. Things of that nature. But I couldn't imagine. I remember a time when my daughter, she gonna kill me for sharing this, but she was staying with me, before my grandbaby, before the pregnancy or anything. And I remember she was in the room just arguing, boo-hoo crying, going off on cuz. And like sounding so hurt, so violated, so crushed. And I remember the phrase that I heard her keep saying, like, so you just don't care? That's all you're going to say? So I am totally uninvolved in their business. Never, ever get in their business. It's something I, trained myself to do, and I mastered it. However, this day, I couldn't help it. I got up, I went in the room, and made her put the phone on speaker silently without giving him any indication that her environment changed at all. And I just wanted to listen to what he was saying that caused her to be in such disdain. And as I listened, his input was so innocent. And I love you, baby. And I deemed her disposition to be such an overreaction to what he was saying and how he was responding toward her. I developed a trust in his tenderness toward my daughter that I couldn't imagine him violating or dealing with anything of this nature. So my heart really goes out to the parents involved, if no one else, and to the young people, old people. It ain't that deep. It ain't that serious. Man, boys, little homies, that thing snapping pop. I know when she get to kissing on you and moaning and all that, it seems like she created that energy just for you. No, sir, it belongs to her. 9 times out of 10, it will be issued out to others other than yourself before it's all said and done. You have to understand that and accept it. That's just a little game for me, myself, EJ Keyway, in the Black Box, Bay Machiavelli. I am not trying to be no hero, and you need to be your own hero, but to yourself, on my mama.
I can't stand off the liquor. Can't understand what he's saying like Twister. 7 grams in his hand, still trying to twist up. Niggas like, damn, with the pipe it done mixed up. A case of Jay-Z, 3 leaves of scoop. The scoop is in my pocket, watch the sheet to produce. Hit the blue room, let the demons loose. The smell of sulfur on the mic when I breathe in the booth. I got him curling toes, trying to squeeze in the boots. But to get where I'm at, you might need a boost. With anything close competition, maybe them, but to me's another reason to shoot. Plus the probation with the sheriff is done. I'm licensed up, got back the register done, so I can murder every DJ soon as your record is spun. Still a case and get the register sponge.
If you are the flesh, then I am the bone. When you back out, still go on. Don't see me stopping, so you think it's hard to believe. I'm something like a hero. I'm stronger than you. Like a hero.
I puff on the fruity branch, clutch figures move with champs, bust on the booty clan, plus get that booty tang, rush in and do your camp, us niggas cool as fans, touch wisdom rule the land, tough kids is hooligans, struck when I do advance, lust for them new sedans, plus rooms and Jews that glare. I'm rough, y'all should move in pairs. Mad women like them now, black down with spider now, master the tiger style, I'm faster than cycles, wow. I'm peeping, I'm so moist, don't beef with me homeboy, I leave you with no choice, speak with a gold voice, 7 steps to darkness, right. Rhetoric is flawless, where did they get this author? Heaven sent him for you. Y'all click sweeter than cough drops, I'm sick. What I spit is equal to smallpox. And they believe in they all pop before drop, before the greatness of artists is more hot.
If you are the flesh, then I am the bone.
Shady DJ, DJ.
You think it's hard to believe. I'm something like a hero. Stronger than you, like a hero.
No brain, I was trained in the truth. I bang in the booth, drop the top on the coupe and let the rain in the roof. Might take a brief moment to roll me a blunt. Put the flame to the front right before I chief on it. I don't run from the beef, I done fought with the pork. You ain't punching no lungs, you was caught with a fork. Obscene speaking, must wanna see my green fall. Problem with the homie, should've kept it between y'all. I take it personal, the bitter with the sweet. I still jump out on feet with the spitter in the street. I see a few thousand every couple of lines. I'm on the grind, rap just one hustle of mine. You find it difficult to swallow my hood rep. Looking pitiful, trying to follow my footsteps with Doja. That's twice as gay as 4 facts, no pass. I want your ass on toe tag.
If you are the flesh, then I am the bone. When you back out, still go on. Don't see me stopping, so you think it's hard to believe. I'm something like a hero. I'm stronger than you. Like a hero.
Hero, SPI featuring Eno. Available on all digital platforms. We got 2 callers on the line.
Snakewood and that Puzzle. Big shout out to my nigga SPI, Spotter Low. You know I'm in the black box, had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned.
Black Box Production. Black Box Production.